Good morning, group leaders. This Sunday we're going to be in 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 4 through 10. Um, it's really the conclusion to Peter's introduction to his book. He's calling them to live and to suffer well, to suffer as believers, and to endure under the face of persecution. And so in doing that, what he does is he says, hey, look at who you are, right? Because it's easy for us to confuse ourselves and to misplace our identity. We can find our identity in our home, in our relationships, in our workplace, in our community, in the things that we own, the things that we don't own even. We find our identity in all sorts of different things that are misplaced identity markers. And so as you talk with your group, the introduction really should focus around how have they seen themselves placing their identity in something that's not who they really are, and then how does that affect their relationships? How does that bring pain and harm into their relationships? But really, what he does here is he highlights the fact that they have a new identity. And so he tells them, first of all, in verses 4 through 8, that, hey, you have a new identity in Christ. And your new identity in Christ is found in the fact that you're a new building. Notice how he says this: coming to him as to a living stone, rejected indeed by men, but chosen by God and precious. You also, as living stones, are being built up a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. Notice what he tells them. Hey, you have a new identity. Your new identity is that God himself is building you up as a spiritual house. To do what? To offer up spiritual sacrifices. So you have a new purpose, right? And so talk with your group through that. But notice as he moves on, he then goes on and he talks about the blessing of obedience and the blessing of believing in who God is, right? And then he's going to say, hey, to you who believe, he is precious, right? Or it's honor is the idea, that there's honor in believing. There's joy in believing in who Christ is. But to those who've rejected Christ, right, a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. And then he goes on and he says, there's only really two options, right? Either it's joy, it's honor, it's something good, you're a winner on Christ's side, or you're stumbling because you've disobeyed the word, and as a result, you've been appointed to destruction. And the idea isn't that this is permanent. We are all at one point disobedient to the word, destined for destruction. God can rescue anyone at any time, but the idea is that that is where the world is in their rejection of Christ. But you're not there. You are God's new building with a new purpose. He then goes on and he tells them in verses 9 and 10, hey, you're a new people. You're a new people. And notice how he describes this. But you're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, his own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of him, or the excellencies is, I think, how the King James translates it. Who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Once you were not a people, but now you are God's people. Once you had not obtained mercy, but now you have obtained mercy, right? Fascinating reference and use of Hosea. I really enjoyed finding that and contemplating that this week. And so that's one of the things that we'll have you do with your group as well, is just walking through and thinking through why does he use that imagery, right? To point back to Hosea. And I think it really is highlighting the fact that, hey, your position in Christ is paramount to and equal to the restored people of Israel, right? He's saying, hey, you are in a special class of people. And so endure well, suffer well, go under hardship well. Be an afflicted saint who suffers well for the cause of Christ. You have a new purpose, right? To proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. The other thing that I want you to focus on with your group is just the importance of being chosen or being elect. Unfortunately, the translations typically translate this word differently, but I've listed on your small group sheets 1 Peter 1:1, 2:4, 2:6, and then 2:9. And all these words either say elect or chosen, but it's all the same word. And think through just the importance of being chosen by Christ. And then to conclude, our worship order is going to really focus around Isaiah chapter 7 this Sunday. And so as we think about the call to worship, we're going to look at Isaiah beholding the glory of God. And as he beholds the glory of God and his holiness, what does he say? He says, I'm a sinner. I'm undone. I can't go in before God. And God comes and he does what? He cleanses him, right? He cleanses him. That's us too. We see God's holiness. We see God's work on our behalf, that he would take us who are not a people, would not obtain mercy, and give us that. Um, that's only through his son, right? And as a result, notice we're supposed to offer up spiritual sacrifices in chapter 2, verse 5, but then also in chapter 2, verse 9, to proclaim the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. And Isaiah 7, 8, Isaiah's like, hey, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to tell people. I'm willing to do your job. And so, really, Isaiah 7 and I think this passage have a number of application points that they share together, and I think we'll enjoy just seeing how God uses that on Sunday as well. So you'll be discussing that as well. I think that's it. We'll see you on Sunday. Have a good day.